Situation where you find that a person look like the same.
Not necessarily tribal or regional.
Because I have said that.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, it's Daybreak on Trust Television, and it's that segment where we bring you all the headlines that made it to the front pages of the national newspapers we have in the studio this morning. And we will start as usual with the Daily Trust. And on the cover this morning, we have Tinubu strike deal with G5 governors in London, pledges government of national unity, governors to remain in PDP. They will be sanctioned if, that's according to the PDP, and how alliance would affect Makinde or Tom's ambition. And of course, anxiety in Amechi's camp. You'll find the details of this story on page 4 of today's Daily Trust. And to the big one, the end of an era for football global legend Pele, who passed on yesterday after a prolonged battle with cancer at the Albert Einstein Israeli Hospital in Sao Paulo. You'll find pictures of him here, born in 1940 and passed on yesterday on the 29th, having attained the age of 82. Brazil soccer legend Pele dies at 82, page 31. And to other stories there on the front page, botched airline shutdown. Nigeria's air orders shaped aviation in 2022. Court stops DSS IGP orders from arresting CBN Governor Emefiele. And to other stories on the front page, Kano community rejects imams appointed by village head. You'll find the details of that on page 16. Obi's new campaign DG quits senatorial race on ZLP, that is the Zenith Labour Party platform. And woman child traveling to granny's burial die in Abuja auto crash. What a sad one there, from one tragedy to another. These are the major stories on the front page of the Daily Trust this morning.
All right, on the Punch newspaper this morning, the lead story is one of politics that talks about aggrieved PDP governors demand Tinubu support in 5 states. And the riders there, you'd see PDP governors concerned about political careers seek assurance from Tinubu. Ex-Lagos government to brief party. Akeredolu insists Southerner must succeed Buhari. And then G5 governors visit Ekweremadu in prison. Return from UK today. And then there's a pictorial there that I would say it's quite disturbing. That shows you residents of Chikakore scooping water from a hole. And this is in the capital city, Abuja. You'd find other stories, quite very interesting ones, on the Punch newspaper this morning. COVID-19 surge. Federal government rules out restricting travelers from China. There we go again. If you'd want details of that story, grab a copy of the Punch, and it's on page 2. Ajakuta Steel Project, 500,000 jobs. $1.6 billion annual revenue. Abuja court bars DSS others from arresting Emefiele. And then Killer Cop suspended. NBA demands $5 billion compensation. And then debts, telcos seek NCC approval to disconnect banks. These are the major stories on the Punch.
We move on now to This Nigeria, and on the front page, we have Army rescues kidnapped female officer in Enugu. Arrests kidnapped kingpin others. Gunmen threaten to kidnap others serving Igbo military personnel. And of course, we have the story of the passing of the legendary football star Pele, with some pictorials of his display while he's on active duty and his final moments there at the Albert Einstein Hospital in Sao Paulo. Wike's G5 consensus on power shift vindicates APC's governor's position. Okechukwu, Von DG. 4 die in Kogi bomb blast as Buhari visits to unveil project. 685 million people living in extreme poverty, says World Bank. And Bolanle, no cover-up on probe, says Sanwo-Olu, meets with IGP Baba. NBA will seek 5 billion compensation for family, says Adegborua. And Football World mourns legendary Pele. You'll find that on page 17. These are the major stories on the front page of This Nigeria.
On the first news, alleged terrorism financing. Court stops DSS from arresting CBN governor. Ruled security agency acted wrongfully, illegally in instigating President Buhari against Emefiele. Declares harassment over trumped-up allegations illegal. You'd find the sad story that it's practically all over the news. Brazilian football legend Pele dies at 82. His 5 great World Cup goals. Politicians uncomfortable with new CBN policy threatening Emefiele's life. This is according to civil society organizations. And EFCC bars persons on trial from participating in auction of forfeited property. Human traffickers now use ECOWAS travel certificates to evade arrest. This is according to the NIS. And then it looks like there's sad news for Nigeria in 2022 as the former NERC chair is saying why Nigeria will experience worsening economy in 2023. Ajakuta Steel will yield 1.6 billion annual income, create over 500,000 jobs. This is according to President Muhammad Buhari. Ekiti Tribunal affirms Governor Ayebanji's election victory. And then the story about Rahim. NBA demands immediate prosecution of cop, 5 billion naira damages. And then Falana gives reasons Bajabiamila should apologize to ASU. These are the major highlights on the first news.
And moving on to Blueprint newspaper, we have the major story there. Buhari on Ajakuta Steel Core. APC-led government rescued project from legal dispute with $400 million. COI to create 500,000 jobs, $1.6 billion annually. Group to Atiku Obi, wait for your time. Tinubu Shetima train, Shore Road to the Villa. Urges Nigerians to shun sentiment around Muslim ticket. LP campaign GD, Oshitoku remains ZLP candidate. INEC. You find the details of this on page 6. Clean energy. Naseni, German firm, produce smokeless stove. 400 distributed to needy women in Nasarawa. And reps vow to unravel facts behind loss of $2.4 billion to illegal crude oil sales. And you have other stories there. Buhari, Tinubu, Gbajabiamila, others mourn Ohaneze leader Obiozo. And we have resolved over 40 boundary cases in Nigeria. This is according to the DG of Nigerian Boundary Commission. And from Jigawa, when Tinubu Shatima-led APC team visited Duse Emirate, we will destroy 10,000 recruits. We will deploy 10,000 recruits for 2023 elections, according to the IGP. And Dangote Refinery awards scholarship to 460 students. And to other stories, as we find in other papers, the passing of soccer legend Pele made it also to the front page, as well as the NBA demand for 5 billion compensation for slain lawyer's family. These are the major stories on the front page of the Blueprint newspaper.
Okay, quickly now before we move on to the review. On the Daily Times this morning, APC has delivered on electoral promises. This is according to President Muhammad Buhari. And Commission's project in Kogi to position state as a Nigeria iron steel powerhouse. You'd find other stories as well. Court restrains DSS, 4 others from arresting Emefiele over alleged terrorism financing. And EFCC to auction forfeited choice properties in Lagos, Abuja, and others. These are the major highlights on the Daily Times.
And to the Nigerian News Direct, attempt to arrest. Court knocks DSS, stops arrest detention of Emefiele. IGP EFCC restrained, condemned harassment, intimidation, threat, restriction of free movement, and abuse of right. Says it is vindictive, unwarranted, abrasive, oppressive, and political class looking for means to disrepute him, Niger Delta Group. And you find there the picture of the president and the Kogi State governor yesterday at the commissioning of the ultra-modern hospital in Okene. And to other stories, Ekiti Tribunal judgment is to God's glory, Oyebanji. And we are proud of what Yaya Bello has done in security project execution. And that is coming from President Buhari. And to other stories, Olugbo hosts members of Yoruba Oba's Conflict Resolution Council. And from Ogun State, Governor Abiodun signs 472 billion 2023 budget into law, and 10 criminal court cases that shook Nigeria in 2022. If you want to know what 10 cases there are, then you have to pick up the Nigerian News Direct. And these are the major stories from the newspaper this morning. We now have joining us in the studio a regular reviewer, the editor, 21st Century Chronicle, Malam Nuruddin Abdullah. It's a pleasure to have you join us again.
My pleasure. Good morning.
And happy Friday, Jumaat Karim.
Thank you.
Whichever one is better understood. Well, a number of events, but we will start with one that appears to have been expected, from a fortnight ago when he was moved into end-of-life facility. The legendary Brazilian footballer who made the world, united the world essentially with his footballing skills. He breathed his last at 82 yesterday. How did you receive that news as a news person?
Yeah, like you said, Kim Pele in football is like Muhammad Ali in boxing. He's a Brazilian, but more like a global citizen, particularly for those of us that are soccer fanatics or something like that, And another reason he's black, so he has a strong attachment to us here, Nigeria. He was here in 1979, you remember, in Lagos, when the coup took place. The drama during that tennis tournament, and when Murtala was gone down, and subsequently he was equally here. So somebody who won the World Cups 3 consecutive times. When people are fighting over who is the GOAT, is it Messi or Ronaldo or Mbappe or whatever, So these are confirmed. And he lived a very dutiful life, Less controversy. He was a gentleman.
I'm hearing voices, the controversy around who is the GOAT is raging even from
he has been confirmed as the real GOAT,
Interesting. And his death is something virtually every newspaper across the globe seem to have celebrated on their front page. He was a peaceful man.
Sure.
And was an ambassador for a lot of things, a lot of good things, of course, across the globe. And now that he has exited the stage, maybe the conversation would now shift to who replaces.
Exactly, yes, exactly.
Who replaces the group.
The Messi fans versus the Ronaldo group, with the exit of Ronaldo from Qatar, all manner of things. So maybe they will advance the conversation now.
And maybe draw inspiration from him.
We move on to other things. We would have the opportunity to bring you that conversation much later in the course of the program. But yesterday, another interesting development from London. We seem to be getting a lot of... London has a way of playing important important roles in our national polity. If it is not Chatham House, it is some kind of meetings going on there.
Sure.
We saw the G5 yesterday. Seem to have reached some kind of truce, or rather, an agreement with the APC, where I don't know how to call it, a certain government of national unity is promised. What do you make of this story? Because they are not entering the agreement on behalf of the party, so I wonder whether they have the local standing, sort of, to reach an agreement like that, and what implication does this have for some of them who are seeking a second term or a different office in the same PDP?
So I think what happened yesterday in London, it's a manifestation of the desperation of the G5 governors. they are entering on the government of GNU, Government of National Unity, not on behalf of the party they represent. Minus Wiki, I think almost all the governors are contesting the February, March 2023 elections. You are contesting an election in a different platform, and you are supporting the presidential candidate of another platform. I think majority of them, some of them we can understand. Take Autumn Benue, for instance. Autumn lived his 7.5 years as governor. He couldn't do anything tangible that we see. I think the last major project he did was when he gathered former governors to commission a borehole. You know, no tangible. His major achievement is the attacks on the Fulani herders. So he spent 7.5 years attacking the Fulani herders, blaming all manner of misfortune, his inability to pay salaries, to do any constructive project out of it on the Fulanis. And now, for him to now campaign for a Fulani man to be president, maybe he's in that dilemma. That is one. Talking about Makinde of Oyo State, I think maybe he's a poor student of history. Let him go to Chief Segun Oshoba. He's still alive. You remember what happened in 2003 with the AD governors and Obasanjo? Obasanjo did not win. He has a very poor support base in 1999 when he came on board. By 2003, he met with them. He said, okay, simple. The other part of the country are teasing me that I'm a prophet that is never loved at home. So please change that dynamics for me. They struck a deal similar to what these people are saying they have done in London yesterday. AD governors will remain their political parties, but they will jettison their own presidential candidate and support Obasanjo, based mostly on ethnic affinity. And the PDP, where Obasanjo belongs, will not tamper with their governorship ambition. But what happened later? They were swept away. Again, you can't change anything. Wike installed a Stooge as the governorship candidate of Rivers State. Unlike other clients, you bother about who takes over from you. In Rivers now, what happens? What are the chances that the PDP, the APC he supports, will not tamper with the dynamics when it comes to governorship election? Let's assume Tinubu wins. And how meticulous, how educated is the electorate in Rivers State that on February 28th, they will vote for APC at the presidential election, and they will come down, vote for PDP, Senate, PDP, House of Reps. That was done, I think, only in Kano, for instance, in 2011, where an NPP governor, Mala Ibrahim Shekarau, installed Takai as the governorship candidate. At the presidential level, Buhari wins. Even at that, Buhari has been winning Kano since he joined politics in 2022. So even at that, Konkoso won the governorship election, and Shekarau and Buhari wins the presidential, even though they belong to different political parties. So how educated is the electorate in Oyo, in Abia, and what have you? So they are confused. Most of these governors, they are going for Senate. Not only they are going for Senate, that is even by the way, but they have candidates that they want to succeed them. And it means a lot. Even Wiki, they have done a lot. That's why they brought their boys in God's sons in court to succeed them so that they will cover up. There won't be. Imagine, let's say, if for instance, Priest Elias will win election in Benue, that Catholic priest. the former Catholic priest. You see what is happening in Ikiti, in Washu, sorry. 360 degrees. That's what it means when another party takes over. 360 degrees. So we expect that in Benue, and where will Autumn be?
Sounds like a lot of drama.
So I think maybe it's a desperation triggered by self-interest, nothing else. It's an ego thing. The Wike was defeated at the party primaries, the PDP primaries. You try your luck and you have been defeated. Instead of it to be a party man, now he said, okay, he wanted to impose himself as the vice president Shironi made. But you know, the winner has his own, he looks at somebody that he can work with peacefully. And they look at the dynamics. And Okowa was speak and heaven. So they should be very careful in what they do, because at the end of the day, I see them losing both. Maybe if Tinubu wins, for instance, what happens to the governors? They want to succeed them. And even in Rivers now, look at the Amechi camp. So does it mean that Amechi has been abandoned from the APC? Because automatically, when this alliance actually stands, the Wike group will be in charge of Rivers State. So Amechi has a follower. He was 2 times governor, 2 times speaker, 2 times minister. So it means that he and his group are out. So these are some of the dynamics. That's why they have to look very cautiously. In Oyo, it's not a one-man thing. It's not a one man that will make you governor. No. There are so many dynamics, so many interests. And let him go back to Shegun Oshoba and learn what happened between the AD governors and Obasanjo in 2003.
Interesting.
Sounds like a lot of gamble.
Yeah.
I must say. Well, let's water this down a bit. There's this very disturbing picture on the Punch newspaper where residents of Chikakore, children scooping water from the ground. A lot of people will say, is this really the capital city? Do we still have such places within the city that you'd see things like this?
Yeah. You know, I don't know. In the last couple of months, even the federal, the men, not even, these are the suburbs, I think, right? I don't even know which local government, which area council it is. Even Abuja metropolis, there have been issues with public water system because of this, what do they call it, this mega water project they are doing. Like if you go to Gerkina Area 1, we have a battle with it. And the ongoing construction, some of the giant pipes from Usuma Dam have been cut up if you're going to Wee. So there have been that ongoing. But places like this actually exist. And again, more importantly, I think Abuja is the only capital, is the only state capital, if you put it that way, that has a functioning public water system. I don't know of Lagos, but none in the north.
Used to be in Niger. We grew up with public water system.
That was history. None. 19 of them states, none. Me in Kaduna. Very few. Maybe in the GRA, some stone throw from the water, but you know, it's not even ever. So Abuja is the only capital city that has a semblance of public water system. So it's unfortunate, actually.
Interesting. Little wonder why some describe us as living in a concrete jungle. Another drama we saw yesterday from the court, of course, would be the order stopping the DSS, the IGP, the EFCC from arresting and harassing and intimidating and preventing them from. What exactly is going on with the seizure of the Apex Bank? I mean, 1 minute the DSS is making an attempt to arrest, the next minute the judges are throwing it out, the next minute we see people protesting. What is going on?
So, I don't know. I think with all respect to the learned, you know, you don't, I'm not in court, so I'm committing the contempt, you know. Yeah. But with the learned judges, I think that order actually was a disservice to Nigeria. Whatever you can't grant an order preventing constitutionally empowered anti-corruption agencies or security agencies from inviting a government official, a public official, because that's what those NGOs, because the CBN governor is the father of NGOs. He was out. They said that he returned last week, right? Well, he hasn't resumed the office.
Yes.
The father of NGOs. Yeah, he was busy in the US, but they're here going to court on his behalf and even staging protests on his behalf.
They said it's for the love of country.
Okay. Okay, that's good. So, a judge will grant an order stopping anti-corruption agency from inviting. What is harassment? So whatever they see now, I think the order Justice Oho gave yesterday is akin to the order given by one federal high court judge in Port Harcourt, River State.
In the case of
Odili, during the Ribadu EFCC, they have piled up case against them. I think over 100 billion.
Perpetual injection.
Yeah, the EFCC was already inviting Commissioner of Finance, Accountant General, some. Odili went to court, and towards the end of his tenure, end of 2016, and he was granted that order, perpetual injunction, stopping the federal government, any of its agents, directly or indirectly, covertly or overtly, EFCC, DSS, and the worst part of it, as I'm talking to you now, that order has not been vacated.
But did we make attempt to vacate it? I mean,
while I was here, during investigation here at Trust, we did tons of stuff. We stood on the story for more than 3 years. Only Daily Trust at that time were doing the story. The last I had was during the Jonathan administration. I went to EFCC. They said that the government is no longer interested. The judge, about 3 senior lawyers prosecuting, acting on behalf of the EFCC, abandoned the case because of frustration. The last one who later became NBA president, I remember I met him, he told me he went to Port Harcourt 9 times and the judge did not sit.
Interesting.
So, and now in Abuja again, no, we are not saying that somebody should be harassed, but you cannot invite somebody. That's ridiculous. With all due respect
so is there
to
is there no merit in the arguments that the persons who are affected by the recent policies may be the ones orchestrating some of these arrest attempts?
I don't want to jump to that conclusion, Sunday, but even the DSS, the way it acted funny.
Oh.
If DSS wants to invite you, will it go to court and say, okay, learned Justice Zena, please grant me this order, let me invite Mr. Sunday? No. What we saw as what the DSS filed was equally ridiculous.
So what would you insinuate is playing along here?
There are, we don't want to believe them. There are so many stories. You know, he's in charge of, he's our chancellor of the exchequer. You know what that means? We thought that if there is any appointment that Buhari was going to deal with was Emefiele's, like one of the lawmakers said, because he said it. He said, Emefiele, the CBN governor was directly involved in the Dasuki gate, because he was the one releasing the money.
I mean, he's just a keeper of the money.
Yes, and the president at that time, the president-elect was complaining that he released billions based on a directive written on a paper, But surprisingly, The president came. We thought that he would suspend him. What happened? The man stayed put. We said maybe the president respects the constitution. He doesn't, when he stays no ends, he will renew it. But surprisingly, to the National Assembly, he appeared before them on the same day. They met him at the plenary closed door session. They went into recess. They came back. They affirmed unanimously.
Perhaps there is something they are saying that all of us
unanimously, the National Assembly confirmed his second term. The Saraki National Assembly, which was at loggerhead with the president at that time, not the Lawals, which is looked as Buhari's, the Saraki's National Assembly confirmed him one day, and no objection from any of the honorable distinguished senators. So we don't know the magic one his chief Emevele is using, for all this. But the court judgment actually, I hope that it will be maybe the affected parties. Agencies will seek to overturn this thing. Because he's a public official. He can be invited.
But definitely not harassed, right?
But what is harassment?
Sweeping on you in your bedroom while you are having a good sleep rather than...
And this thing again, is actually embarrassing the country.
Absolutely.
It's embarrassing the country.
Absolutely.
They won't take us serious. People outside cannot take us serious. They won't take because they are talking about issues of national security. Economic crimes with direct national security implications. Terrorism financing. And you are saying that this guy should not even be invited to explain some of these things.
Interesting.
So I don't know. With the line of judges, I don't know what they saw. I don't know,
I would like you to briefly just comment on this before we go. It's a story about the Lagos lawyer who was shot by a police officer. We're saying that he has been suspended and the NBA is demanding 5 billion naira compensation.
So I think I saw the NBA president make it yesterday on channels, and what he was saying that, there should be, it's Lagos. Governor Sanwo-Olu is a serious guy, and it's Lagos, not any other part of the country that will. If you allow, the police are talking about using internal mechanisms. That's, with due respect to the IGP, that is cover-up. We saw it in the case of Kari. Kari was accused by Hush Puppy. He was accused by the FBI. FBI is not Utako police station. Yes. They have done their filings and they send it here. But what did the police do? The DIG is late now. What did they do? They went there, they cover up everything. Even during their investigation, they realized that money was transferred from Hush Puppy to the younger brother of the Abba Kari. Maybe he still is a name for you. And not 10 million, 20 million, about 270 million. And they didn't even have the courtesy to invite that guy. What happened? What they were recommending was actually stepping one rank, one step down for Abba Kari. Until even the police service commissioner under Mr. Smith and even Attorney General, he said, stop embarrassing us, please. Do the right thing. And when, if that was even before the NDLA matter came up, when the NDLA was tired of this thing, they went to court. They said, give us this guy, interagency solidarity. Yes. The police refused. They went and saw the president. They said, this is what is happening. And they ambushed the man and they got him arrested. So allowing the police, with due respect to the IGP, he is doing well. Internal mechanism, suspend him and hand him over to face the full wrath of the law. That's it.
Well, they have assured us that there will be no cover-up and that they will cooperate with the Lagos State Attorney General, who has pledged to lead the charge. Let us hope that for once we'll see a difference, because it is stories like this that actually led to the October 20 menace. You know, this kind of brutal and unexplained killing. And I hear from the stories I read that particular police station had 2 cases.
Yes. I think the last one was not more than 6 months ago.
6 months ago, you know. So you begin to wonder what kind of culture permeates what we call divisional police stations across Nigeria.
More importantly, this guy is not just one shabbily recruited. No, he's an ASP.
Yes, an ASP. You know.
30 years in the service.
Interesting. Maybe it is karma that is catching up with him at this point of his career. But this is the much we can entertain this morning. It has been explosive as usual with Nuruddin. He comes fully prepared and he serves them hot.
Absolutely.
You know, very hot. Thank you very much for finding time to be with us. Perhaps the next time we will see it will be at the turn of the new year. So may I wish you Happy New Year in advance.
Thank you.
And we hope that 2023 will be nice.
Inshallah.
You know. We draw the curtains on newspaper reviews this morning. We'll see you at the top of the hour with more from this program. Please stay with us.